Hi, and welcome to the High Pulse Gear YouTube channel. My name is Joe Lang, co-founder of High Pulse Gear. Today we're going to look at boats. If you're like me, when we started fishing and wanted to get off the shore and started to get in the middle of the lake, I started to look at boats quite regularly. Where I went was marinas, Bass Pro Shop, other places, and looked at brand new boats. And I kind of got sticker shock. I was a little surprised at the price of the boats and also a little discouraged. But with a little research, I found a way to work my way up to a nice boat for fishing. So today we're going to go over 3 types of boats. One is the Kayak. Next one will be the Bass Buddy. And then we'll go over getting a used boat. And then finally, if you're ambitious, we'll talk a little bit about buying a used boat and rebuilding it to be your own. So welcome, and let's get ready to talk about each boat. First boat that we're going to talk about is the Kayak. The Kayak is a great boat to start out fishing if you only have a few $100s to spend. This particular one is a 10-foot kayak. They come in various sizes. They can go up to 13 feet and a little bit longer if you start to get into that. A lot more stable and do a little bit of road tripping with the kayak down the river. But this one's a great one to start out with. I started out with a kayak and it was great. You're sitting low to the water, and so a lot of times a lot of your top water spinner baits won't work as well. But pretty much that was the only thing that I felt I was limited with. They come with various features. This one, and you sit in, there's a lot of kayaks now that you can sit on top of, and I've heard that those are awesome as well. I have a couple friends that have those, and they seem to love them. This particular kayak, again, is 10 feet, has a couple of cup holders, a little storage compartment. This is great to put some extra tackle in, or a little cooler with some water or whatever beverages you're drinking. And then what I always did is I sat in here and I kind of kept a little tackle box just with my basic things that I like to use fishing right in here. There's also, if you look online at Amazon or other stores, you can actually get rod holders to put on these to attach on the kayaks. And those work great too. So this one actually comes with a couple of rod holders, so you can put a rod in the back, 1 or 2 rods in the back, and you can fish with one, which is great because then you have something tied, a couple of different baits that you're using tied to a fishing pole already, and you can just switch them out pretty easily. The only drawback to that is when you have these in there, you just got to learn that where the rods are. If you're going to go back and swing, you got to realize, hey, there's a rod back there. I may hook it, which I've done before. These are great for fishing ponds. Now that I've seen a lot of kayaks on some lakes, some smaller lakes, and it's great exercise and a great entry boat if you don't have a lot of money to spend. Kayaks the price can range, but I've seen them at Costco and like Sam's Club for $350. Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro Shop have them for about the same. Your basic kayak, and those are great. Those are fine to start out with. You can go on up. I mean, these kayak fishing has become very popular. So you can spend up to a couple grand on a nice decked out fishing kayak boat. And I've heard those things are great and a lot of fun. And I believe there's also some tournament fishing that are kayak only. So if you get into kayaks and you start to love it, then this is a great boat to start with or work your way up to a larger kayak. But if you're just looking to get on the water, this is an awesome boat to start with. One thing I'm not showing on this video is canoe. I started out with canoes, and I found them a little bit difficult, not impossible to fish out of, but a lot of canoes are meant for 2 people. You can get a shorter 10-foot canoe, but I found that the wind pushes it a little bit more. It's harder to maneuver around when you're in there by yourself. I made the mistake of buying a large canoe thinking that everybody in my family is going to use it. What I found was I was the only one using it. It was like 17 feet long. It was just a tank, and it was too hard to get around and fish by yourself. So if you're looking to fish by yourself and you're looking at between a kayak and a canoe, I would start with the kayak. Now let's move on to the Bass Buddy boat. This is a Bass Buddy boat. They're also called pond crawlers. This one's called a Bass Raider. They're usually around 8 to 10 foot long. They're a lot wider than your kayaks, so they're a lot more stable. They're great boats because you can have 2 people on them. They don't take up a lot of room, and they can fit on a trailer, but they can also fit in the back of your truck. Lots of them come with wheels on the back, so you're able to pick up and move them around into the in and out of the water a lot easier. They come with different features. This one, actually, you can put a trolling motor on these. So this one has a trolling motor, a place to hook up. You obviously need a battery for the trolling motor. So it makes it a little bit easier getting around the lake or pond. I wouldn't take this on great big lakes, but a smaller lake, or especially a pond, this is perfect. Again, 2 people, you can move around, you can walk a little bit, but not much. It's still a little unstable, but it does the job. And with this one, we did a couple alterations on it. We put some rod holders. This one, again, we tied to the trailer. We keep this here at a farm, and we put it in a farm pond. But great boat. They range in price. I looked it up today. Looks like Bass Pro Shop has one for $620. That seemed to be about the lowest I saw. Maybe you can find some lower online, but great boat to start out with. Kind of a step up from the kayak. Again, you can add the electric motor to it, which is going to cost you a little bit more too, but it sure saves a little bit on the shoulders of ours. Able to get around. You can add an anchor to it as well. Great boat, great startup boat. You can buy it brand new. I'm sure you can find some used for under $600. But if you're looking to step up from the kayak, this is the one to go with. Now we get into the larger boat. This is a 16.5-foot sea nymph. This is one that I got used, and it's a great boat. Does everything that I need it to do for the lakes that I particularly fish. It has storage compartment, a live well, comes with a 25-horse engine, which is plenty power to get me around where I need to go. Now, I wouldn't take this one on an extremely large lake. That one, I would still think you need a little bit bigger boat than this. Also, on a very windy day like it is today, this one will get pushed around quite a bit. Have a trolling motor that goes on the front there, and then I can also put one on the back. I have one for the back. I don't use that as much. I don't have the electronics hooked up, but I have a fish finder in front and then one here in the back. But I'll get into that in another video, setting my boat up and show you guys there. But you know, you can get these used for around $2,000 on up, depending on the quality of the boat, how new the boat is, and the features of the boat. This one is a deep V. I've taken it to Wisconsin. I know the previous owner took it to Minnesota, and of course I take it to Iowa. So I mean, this one, you can fish multi-species out of it. It's great for kids too. Plenty of room to walk around in there. And honestly, with an older boat like this, I'm not worried if my coffee spills or if the kids spill whatever they're drinking, or if there's food. I mean, I'm going to clean it up, of course. But like with a brand new boat, I had a very nice family boat, a fish, mainly a ski boat. And man, I was so worried about everybody messing it up. But with this, I'm a little bit more lenient. You can get a John boat as well. And those things are great. And let me talk to you a little bit about a John boat that I got used that I ended up rebuilding.
This is a 14-foot John boat. It was extra wide, extra deep, which is very nice because it was very stable. I bought it from a friend of mine, and it was older. It was a 1970s John boat. The motor was a Johnston motor that honestly was so old it only worked about half of the time. The floorboards were rotting, and I couldn't afford a brand new boat. So what I did is completely stripped the boat, tore everything out of it, and got rid of the motor. Unfortunately, I don't have pictures of that, but I sanded everything down, put a primer on it, put some marine paint on it, and it looked pretty sharp. From there, I started to rebuild the boat exactly how I wanted it. Put a longer deck on it, made a little bit more storage, also kept a nice big open area. I was also able to find a motor for it, a 9.8 horse Nissan motor, which I don't believe they make anymore. And I got a great deal on it, and it really turned out well when I got the whole boat together. I really enjoyed fishing out of this boat. To be honest, I enjoyed rebuilding it. It was a great boat. It was a fun time to rebuild something and take it out on the water. I had a sense of ownership and pride that, hey, I completed this project. I ended up selling it a few years later for another boat, but I do have to admit I miss this boat. So if you have the time and the ability to do so, this was a great project and a very cheap way to essentially make a brand new boat exactly how you would like it.
So there you have what I like to call budget boats or just starting out boats. Then you have the kayak, the bass buddy boat, or moving on to a larger used boat. Or if you have the ability to do so, you can find a nice shell boat and create your own little bass boat. Either way, as long as you're getting out of the water and you're enjoying yourself, that's what counts. Thank you for watching the High Pulse Gear YouTube channel. Visit us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Also, go to highpulsegear.com for your High Pulse merchandise. And again, keep chasing that High Pulse moment.